when we found out we were doing Hard Knocks, it was really cool because Robert like immediately like texted me. He's like, I don't want to show any players getting cut, and I'm like, brother, we see it the exact same way. Like, there's no way we're gonna do that. Like, these kids put their heart and soul into this thing every day, and we're not gonna like exploit like one of the worst moments in their life.
I ain't got me nobody. I ain't got me no. I got the green light, babe.
What's up, y'all? I have Joe Douglas for you today. So a little background with Joe. He's a friend. I owe him a lot. Like when I was a free agent in 2016, I don't know what was going on. Nobody was calling, nothing. And I hit up one of my boys who I played college ball with, Ian Yates Cunningham, who was a guard at Virginia, and he's now Ryan Poles' right-hand man. But rewind, he was in Baltimore with Ozzie Smith and Joe Douglas back when Joe was the Turk, the guy that cut people on Hard Knocks. Now he's got his own big office and shit. But back in the day, that was Joe. Ian and Joe end up in Philly, and I actually call Ian, my thirsty ass, trying to get a job. I'm like, hey, can I be on your team or some bullshit like that? And he's like, yeah, let me run it up the flagpole. He talks to Joe. Joe talks to Howie. Joe gives me the stamp of approval. So without Joe, I don't think my life's way different. I'll put it that way. So I appreciate the dude to take time in the middle of the week that he has to make all those personnel decisions, give us 30 minutes. He's the man for that. I did pick the Jets to win the Super Bowl. That means it's not going to happen. So I'm sorry, Jets fans. And that's a dynamite intro to my question for y'all. Remember to like and subscribe, tell friends about the podcast. But what I want you to tell me in the comments, if you're an adult Jets fan, it could be any age, because I'm sure you've had your frustrations. What is the most hopeless moment that you've ever had as a Jets fan? Because I know there was Sanchez and that whole thing, but most of it has been pretty bleak. Not this year, though. Like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think. Joe Douglas. All right, as promised, joining me now, my buddy, GM of the New York Jets, and I'll just say it right now, and he doesn't have to react, but I did pick the Jets to win the Super Bowl this year. Welcome to the show, Joe Douglas.
What's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm good. I like how you just glossed over the Super Bowl pick.
Yeah, glossing right over that one.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, long way to go, bud.
Yeah, I know. It's that time of year, man. There's a lot going on. Hey, maybe the first question to start on a positive note. What's one thing you're really excited about that you didn't realize you'd be on this team coming out of camp?
Oh man, I really like how we're developing as an offensive line. As much as that goes against the media narrative that's out there, we're getting healthy at the right time. It's good to get big Dwayne back in the fold, get him rolling. And Makai's been having an unbelievable preseason, so that's been great seeing that group come together throughout training camp. Because as you know, like these guys are going against one of the best D-lines in football every single day, so it's a little bit of a trial by fire. But it's good to see them develop as camp has gone on.
What specifically, besides just getting healthy, can Makai do to be that player that you guys thought he'd be? And I've seen it in flashes. What does he have to do going into this season? What has he done in camp?
I think with Makai, it's just maintaining that level of consistency, and he's done such a good job of that. And it was funny because I just did my presser with our beat, and when I was watching Makai warm up prior to the Tampa Bay preseason game, and he's bouncing around and he's like jawing and he's got energy and juice, and I was like, okay, this is gonna be good. And he just went out and played an unbelievable game. So he's primed and ready. And so I think he stays consistent, and we can stay healthy. It's going to be a good group.
Is it an adjustment for an O-line? Like, you think, obviously, with Aaron Rodgers coming in, one of the best to ever do it, it's like, oh, your job gets easier. But there are probably, with your O-line background and just seeing these guys work, there's probably a couple things that become a little bit more difficult because of things maybe Aaron wants it, and there's like a learning process, whether it's with the checks or communication. What can you pinpoint as things that guys actually maybe had to work on because of the level of quarterback play entering the building?
Well, I think you probably can attest to it going against Aaron, but Aaron views the cadence as a weapon for the offense, and so there is a very detailed outline of how he wants to approach the cadence, and I know it's unique for a lot of people, and so there's a little adjustment period there, but I think as camp has progressed, guys have really settled into it.
Yeah, it happened to me a couple times in St. Louis in 2012.
Yeah.
He got three of us to jump and hit Jordy Nelson for
Really?
60 yards. And of
He's
course,
like-
my first thing is to look to the left and the right of me to make sure I'm not the only one offsides, which I wasn't. So with Aaron, like, what's his personality been like? You probably didn't know him, and I think there's a lot of preconceived notions about who he is. You spent time with him, not just in the process, but now that he's in the building. Has anything surprised you about who he is?
Yeah, just from the beginning, my first time spending any amount of time with him was that trip out to Malibu to hang with him and his agent at his house, which, by the way, I didn't want to leave.
Nice house, huh?
Oh, man, just
Does he have a pool?
a lot of zen there. It was just,
Oh, yeah?
it's great. But like, just spending time with him and getting to know like how genuine a guy he is and how he wants to know about you, all about you as a person, your philosophies, kind of where you've been, how you've been brought up. I feel like he's that way with everybody.
Yeah.
And so it's been easy for him to connect with people here and really build relationships. No matter if you're an old 47-year-old guy like me, or if you're a 24-year-old rookie of the year, like he has a way to connect with everybody.
When you were in the middle of that thing, were you ever like, holy shit, I am the main character or one of the main characters in the biggest story in sports? Because this thing just went a while and it was like people didn't know what was going on, and I just thought it was crazy. I never hit you up because I don't want to make people tell me things that they don't want to tell me, but like, what was it like just going through that? And were there moments where it looked like it might fall through? Were there things that people thought that were just completely off base that were crazy to hear on a daily basis?
Yeah, you know me, Chris. Like, I'm sitting there at his house and like, is this really happening? Like, am I really sitting here talking to Aaron Rodgers about coming and playing for a team that I work with? Like, is this real? So there was quite a few of the moments like that over the last few months. It's continuing to happen, honestly. But yeah, it was wild. It's what's wild now, seeing all the attention and all the spotlight of us and our team. It's crazy, and just things that are said that are just completely offbeat and crazy, and you shrug it off because it just, some of this attention just, it gets out of hand.
How about what he's done for Zach Wilson? Because I can see it. I know as a young player, when I've had issues with my confidence, or I haven't played to my standard, it really helps to have a vet, even if he's the guy taking your reps away, to come in and take you under his wing. And I can see that on TV. So how does that translate to Zach Wilson's confidence and maybe his career trajectory?
Yeah, because Aaron is an intense and fiery competitor, but he's also a very calming presence with his teammates in terms of after the play, getting guys together, providing some nuggets and insights on different things that he saw, and but also giving some challenges to guys like Zach and Garrett and other guys, and so it's been that's been one of the really cool things about this, is watching Aaron take all these players. It's not just guys like Garrett and Zach, It's guys like Sauce, guys like Quinnen, just taking guys under their wing, giving them little tidbits of what he saw to try to help their game. That's been probably the coolest thing to see out here at training camp every day.
When did you first hear about the big team friendly thing he did? Because this to me was like, I don't know if it got enough attention. It's totally unprecedented, isn't it? Because sometimes you hear about pay cuts and they're like restructures. I remember
Right.
one time I got patted on the back for a restructure. Like I was taking a big pay cut. I was like, yeah, sure, thanks. But this is a real pay cut. So when did you first hear about it? Did you believe it?
Yeah, I mean, there was a few discussions leading up to the break after OTAs, but then really, once we got back for training camp, and it was we're a couple days in, and it's like, hey, let's get this thing done, and then it's almost like you want to like celebrate with some kind of major like press clipping, but Aaron's just like, no, man, it's good. Like we're good. And yeah, but again, it's really emblematic of his time here. Is he's been a authentic, genuine, selfless teammate, and I think that was a big example of it.
You mentioned Garrett. After seeing him for a year, I guess I didn't ask you this the last time you were on the show, but did he have a comp coming in? And do you see somebody now that he's been in the league for a year that might instruct you on his ceiling?
Yeah, Chris, like when we get in the draft room, we're trying to comp guys from previous drafts, and so like just the route running, the ability to separate, the explosiveness in the lower body. I mean, he's like Gumby out there running routes. There's like a Odell type bend, explosiveness, separation ability, Justin Jefferson route running ability, great ball skills, great after the catch. So those are all the things that we saw on the tape, but you never know somebody until you live with them, right? And so we knew, we'd heard what type of character, what type of person he was, and a big reason for his success last year was he came in day one. I mean, he's a pro's pro. Like he's locked in, he's focused, he's smart, he's competitive, he's energetic. He's again a guy that like is fun to be around and connects with all of his teammates, and people like gravitate towards him. So like when you see the combination of the physical ability and the intangibles and character come together, it's like, wow, okay, this dude could be really special. And he went out and had a really good rookie year.
Yeah, he was great, and he looks great already with Aaron. How about Brees and his rehab? And, there's just such an unfortunate injury because he was having such a great year, that draft class, some real studs in there. How's he coming along? And then with Dalvin coming in, how are they different enough to not be redundant and be a real weapon as a unit?
Yeah. Brees was on track. You could say that Brees was on track to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think I felt like he was getting ready to go off for 200 on the Broncos that day, and then unfortunately he had the injury. But day one, he's been attacking rehab. I mean, he's in this building. He's like one of the first guys in this building every day for rehab and working his tail off. And so it was no surprise that he was cleared the week of the Tampa Bay practices to re-enter practice. And so I felt like Aaron had a pretty cool comp for him in one of his pressers, and he comped him to Amon Green, he said Amon was one of the fastest guys on the field, but it didn't even look like he was going that fast. And Brees is kind of the same way. I think there's a real deceptive run style that he has that makes it difficult for backers and safeties to track him, and because he looks like he's not going fast, but he's gained so much ground. And so you'll see
he's
like
jogging to the flat.
Yeah.
But he's jogging fast.
And guys are like a half man behind him when they're attacking. They're attacking the alley, and it's like, Yeah, man, this guy can roll, and you see that he caught a little slant route, split out as a wide receiver, and he just gust of wind, man, smoked through a keyhole. And
Yeah.
Dalvin's out here at practice, and Dalvin is like the definition of twitch and suddenness, and his feet are just electric, and chain cut on a dime and burst and acceleration, and I think they're really going to complement each other well, and they're both great dudes that love ball, and
Yeah.
they just want to come in, know the offense, work their butt off, and win games, and so Dalvin's been a really cool addition.
How about something that kind of went under the radar, but the Conklin edition? You guys have now a guy that you can split out. You can move him around. You talked about moving Brees around and, leaning into that kind of positionless deal that we talk about a lot on this podcast when it comes to offense. What does having a second tight end like that do for y'all?
Yeah, Conk, you nailed it. Like, that was a really under the radar acquisition because Conk's a dude, man. Conk is a warrior mentality, relentless competitor, but he's got like legit sneaky route skills, like feet, balance, body control, that initial burst out of the break. He can create that separation on linebackers. He's like a really polished route runner, and a real student of the game. Like, he gets it, and it's been cool watching him and Aaron develop a relationship, and I think we're blessed to have a good tight end room because CJ is an awesome dude, and he's like that big inline wide, but he can also roll. He can run. He can threaten defenses up the seam. Big catch radius, strong hands. Really competitive blocker. And then we've got this second-year player out of Ohio State, Jeremy Ruckert. He's been awesome. He's had as good of off season as any one of our players, and so we have a good group of tight ends.
Yeah, it should be fun. Nice getting to 12. How about on defense? We've talked about this kid over text message, but Will McDonald is a guy that gets me pretty excited to watch. There's just something about him. I was careful about coming to this conclusion, but just looking at him move around, I'm not saying he's going to be Alden Smith yet, but I kind of like that. He's got that little Gumby-ish thing, and when you watch him on tape, I don't know if this matters to you guys, but I think he gains grasp better than any of your edge guys. So, people try to boot you guys to death or take you guys off your spot rushing. He's a guy who can close quick on a boot. He can run down plays. What have you seen from him? And, I think you gave me a comp over text message. Who was that? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was. Obviously he broke a pretty good player's sack record at the Big 12. So I won't. That's rarefied air to say he's like Vaughn, but like he's an avatar, man. Like, he is long, and super flexible, and like he can bend the edge, and like his shoulders are like 4 inches off the ground, when he's turning the corner. And I think what's really unique about him, because Will's not a 270-pound dude, but he's really strong at the top of his rush. So like when he captures the edge, he's not getting widened by the offensive tackle. Like, he's able to maintain that line to the quarterback. He can dig like every cleat into the ground and
His
stay
cleats are in the ground. Yeah.
Yeah, he stays anchored into the ground as he's capturing the edge, and so he's giving some of these dudes absolute fits and on top of it, there's the spin move that I won't put it into the rare Freeney air, but like his spin move is giving people a lot of problems because they can come at any time in any direction. So there's a lot of cool traits to work with, but the one of the coolest things about his game outside of his physical ability is that this guy plays hard all the time. His motor and effort, it fits the group. He's one of them. He goes all the time.
Where do you get your veteran presence from in that defensive line room? Because the thing I love about it, I watched them on tape the other night. I think maybe Jermaine had a sack. You guys were running a game to one side, and I think somebody popped back in, and I think it might have been Jermaine, but everybody was celebrating together. You can tell they love each other. You can tell there's no egos, which I think has to be an intentional process for you. I can remember in Philly, we didn't have any egos. You know, we were 8 deep, but guys all did what they had to do to make it work for the team. Whether it was BG kicking inside or something Fletch had to do or myself, or like, we just had good people, and I feel like you've designed it the same way up there.
Yeah, I mean, that was such a special group of guys in Philly. And I mean, the D-line room, that was like the engine. The D-line and O-line room was the engine of that team. And it was filled with like awesome, awesome dudes. And then you throw in guys like Selleck and Sprolzy and I felt like the locker room was like the catalyst. Torrey Smith, like such good dudes.
Good people.
Just
Yeah.
good people. And like good things are bound to happen, right? When you have a bunch of good people that are really talented and love being together. And so I feel like that kind of sums up the D-line room. And like it's a good mix because you've got Will, you've got Jermaine, we got Bryce Huff. They're younger guys. We got JFM, who started his career with the Rams, Carl Lawson, who started his career in Cincy.
He's your vet, maybe, Carl Lawson. Is he your oldest guy?
Carl's probably the vet of the edge guys, but then some great acquisitions, like Solly. Solly is a dude. He is like a stud. Solomon Thomas, like he is awesome guy.
Checks his ego at the door. He'll do whatever.
Al Woods, he's been doing it for a while, and he's a dog, and he loves ball. Quentin Jefferson. So it's like a cool mix, and all headed up by Quinnen, who's got some real freaky stuff to him. Like it's a good mix of personalities and experience, but the common denominator is they're great guys.
Was there a game last year that you remember that the kitchen sink was thrown at Quinnen Williams the most? Because I feel like he's kind of crossing that echelon of a guy that you plan around. There's different kinds of guys, and I think it manifests in film prep, when you get the team in the room. And, if you're building your offensive game plan around a guy, that's the threshold for being in that echelon. And I think he's there.
Yeah. Like, I think when you watch him play, you're like, when you're saying who's a guy that can completely wreck the game for you, he has to be one of the first guys you look at and say, this dude can completely wreck the game as an interior defender. And so I felt like as the season progressed last year, every team, he was getting constantly doubled. Which in turn is going to free up a lot of opportunities for other guys. So, but yeah, I felt like from like that Dolphins game. Remember when he picked up the fumble and stiff arm Tyreek? Like, I feel like from that game forward, he was just everybody was like locking in to stopping that guy.
Yeah,
trying to.
And I got to tell you, man, I got a special place in my heart for this Huff kid. I just love watching him rush. He all he does is win rushes. He doesn't lose rushes. He doesn't get stuck. He's versatile. He gets off the rock. He plays hard. I just really like that kid. What can you say about Bryce Huff?
He is pure speed. Like, he is electric takeoff. Like top 5 takeoff in the National Football League takeoff.
So anybody you've had before that has a get off like him?
Probably Chris Long.
I was going to say, you can't say me, especially not 33-year-old me. I'll send you some clips, though. The other day, I was looking at some shit from like 2010. I was like, to be young. But like, you've had guys in Baltimore. Derek Barnett had a really twitchy get off. He was great at the top of the rush in the way that you described, Will. But is there anybody that's been as twitchy that you've had on your team?
Man, I don't think I've been around a guy that has that kind of juice off the snap. Like, we had we had a kid from Florida Atlantic or Florida International back in Baltimore named Barnes was his last name. He was
Uh-huh.
really fast off the snap. Um, but like Bryce is just pure gas, like pure gas, and that's what makes the edge group kind of cool because you got power rushers, you've got speed, you got fastballs, you got everything. Like Mike Clemens and JFM, they can go right through you. Jermaine can win with speed and power. Bryce is another guy that's really strong at the top of his rush. Like he's
Yep.
got like that bulldog build, like a James Harrison type, like bulldog low to the ground, but
Yep.
but like
Yep.
but strong. So it's hard to move him off of that rush line.
I feel like he's a no glove guy. No, he's wearing gloves. Okay, he's like
Is
he's
he?
got that
All right.
throwback thing going on. No, he wears gloves.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
okay, so talking about the coverage on the back end of this thing, I think Sauce gets a lot of credit, rightfully so, but there are other guys in that secondary who have done a really good job. How exciting has it been? And do the guys up front know how lucky they are?
Rush and cover, brother. If you can do both, you're
There's
gonna
two
have a
words
good.
in there. It ain't just rush.
Yeah, rush and cover. And
Yep.
so we've got a good group back there, and like DJ Reed, Sauce was defensive rookie of the year, but DJ Reed is awesome, instinctive,
Quite
tough.
good.
He can press you up. He can match you in man. He's got great zone eyes. He's got ball skills. Like he's a dude. And then Michael Carter on the inside, like he can run the show as a nickel in terms of he's so instinctive, athletic. I mean, he's fast. Jordan Whitehead, Jordan he's so smart, competitive. He's strong. Excited about. I think the cat's starting to get out of the bag. We'll see soon. But Tony Adams is a young second year player, undrafted free agent from Illinois, who we're all excited about. And like Illinois done some awesome things with their secondary. I think they've got like seven
Yeah, I got
dudes
another
the last
dude
2
this
years
year
that
too.
are getting drafted and playing in the NFL. So that's like a pipeline right now.
Hey, what went into the decision? Because I thought it was a good one, and I wondered if you were a catalyst for this. But when y'all were like, "No, we're not cutting people on Hard Knocks this year," because as we've discussed before, you used to be the Grim Reaper, and that although we joke about you don't want to see the Grim Reaper, and we laugh about it every day, but cut day, it is a very tough day, and
Yeah.
I totally understand why you guys wouldn't want to include it. What went into that whole process?
Yeah, when we found out we were doing Hard Knocks, it was really cool because Robert like immediately like texted me. He's like, "I don't want to show any players getting cut," and I'm like, "Brother, we see it the exact same way. Like, there's no way we're gonna do that. Like, these kids put their heart and soul into this thing every day, and we're not gonna like exploit like one of the worst moments in their life. We're not doing that. Like, those are brutal conversations, and having to be the Turk on the show before, like you just think about the players and you think about everything that they put in to this game and that they've lived and died for this moment for their whole life, and like, yeah, we're gonna protect that.
Do you think that the Black Crows ever used to fuck with the Eagles on tour?
I saw that snippet. You know,
Did you like that speech?
I
Did
think the
you
Black
did
Crows
he
could
get
have
it from
taken it back.
Instagram? Where did Robert get?
I think the Black Crows could have taken the Eagles at that point just because of the age difference. I think the Eagles, as great as they are, might have been out of their prime when the Crows hit their peak in the early '90s. She talks to angels.
Yeah. Uh-huh. No, the Black Crows are underrated. I just wonder,
They're soulful, man. They're
like
awesome.
before he gives a speech like that, which is a good speech, and actually the message resonates. Is he like, Joe, I got some today? Or does he just go up there? Do you know what he's going to hit in those team meetings?
No, I love his team meetings. Okay. And I can't wait for his stories. So I kind of don't want to know, I don't really want to know because I want to I want to hear what he has to say. And it was such a great message because, and he's spot on, right? Like with all this attention that this team's getting, there's going to be so many people that want you to trip and fall flat on your face. And so just keep your poise, go about your business, do things the right way, and let the chips fall. Like, don't worry about this attention. Don't worry about what people have to say. Just go out and do it every day.
Can you ask him for me, and maybe you just text me later, what the motivation for the Crows is? Because it just doesn't seem like there's much in it for them, and they end up dead on the ground. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. Are the Eagles attacking their nest? Is it like a territorial
I don't
thing?
know. You got it. Robert's got to tell you.
I haven't seen that National Geographic episode, but there's got to be a territorial issue.
It's from Instagram Reels, Joe. It's from Instagram Reels. It's not from Nat Geo.
The Eagles, the Black Crows, they're not going to sing Hotel California, man. You're not going to approach in that turf. And the Eagles, they better not sing She Talks to Angels.
No.
That now we got problems.
Yeah. Did you see him as Soprano? Do you watch any of these Hard Knocks? Did you see the intro with him as Tony Soprano?
Yeah, I saw the drive into the stadium. I actually thought that was pretty cool.
Good.
And I'm ashamed to say that I haven't. I've got to watch The Sopranos. I got to watch The Sopranos.
You haven't watched The Sopranos?
I haven't watched The Sopranos.
Not once.
Not once. I got to get into it. There's so limited time.
You gotta let me know what you think about the ending.
Is it okay? I'd ask you this: is it as good or better than Breaking Bad?
I think it's probably better. I think I was probably a prisoner of the moment with Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad's really good, but the last season was a little wacky to me. So yeah, I think The Sopranos is great, and I got to rewatch it. But when you get there, let me know what you think about the ending. You really haven't had the ending spoiled for you?
No,
nice thing about living under a rock and being a GM is not knowing the ending of The Sopranos.
I know the ending, and I know all the offshoots. I've seen snippets. I've seen episodes. I haven't watched The Sopranos, and I haven't watched The Wire. Even though I'd lived right next to where The Wire was being filmed.
That's the one.
Yeah, I got to watch those two shows.
Okay, so 2 nuggets for you where you go into it. Eric Mangini's in The Sopranos, and so is Tony Siragusa.
Goose, the best.
Yeah, God rest his soul, man. That guy was the coolest. He was the coolest. He treated me so good. He was like, I met him at the Super Bowl and never talked to him before, and within an hour we were out having beers, on his invitation. He's a
special dude. He hated scouts. He hated scouts because
did he really?
He was drafted late or undrafted, and so whenever he'd walk by us, he'd be like, "You guys don't know what the fuck you're looking at." He'd just bust our balls all the time. He's such a good dude.
That's good. He was awesome.
He was the best, man.
If the Jets were a band, who are the Jets? What kind of music are the Jets playing? You built the band. You got to have an answer.
I think the Jets would be hip hop.
Okay. Young, fresh, exciting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm thinking but with a little bit of edge, like early '90s hip hop, a little bit of an edge, an edge, but young and
electric relaxation. All right. Well, so what's the best live show you've ever been to, Joe?
I don't want to go recency bias, so I'm diving deep because I just saw Eric Church and he was good.
He's really good live.
He was good, dude. Stapleton's awesome.
He's coming to Seville. A couple months. Yep.
Stapleton.
And are you caught up on your Sexy Red?
And it can be just him, the guitar.
Yeah.
And I'll just sit there. Am I caught up on who?
Sexy Red. It's a rapper that they're
No.
playing. It was featured on Hard Knocks. I don't know if you saw that scene. A bunch of
No,
old guys were
no,
like,
I
"What
don't
the
know
fuck
that.
is this?" All the young guys knew
I
exactly who it was.
knew stuff.
Okay, and then the final music
sad,
question. The final music question for you, Joe, would be this: settle a debate I've been having with some of my fans of Guns N' Roses, my buddies who like Guns
Just
N'
saw
Roses.
them.
You saw him?
Just saw them weeks ago.
How did
They came to
Axel
that life.
look?
He looked good.
Okay, all things
He looked
considered.
good.
Okay, Estranged
he
or
looked
November Rain?
Slash. Say it again.
Estranged or November Rain? Which song?
November Rain.
I agree with you. That's why you're my
But
guy.
really, I'm a Night Train. I'm Night Train guy.
Okay.
I love Night Train.
Okay.
I love Appetite for Destruction.
Yes, you do.
Like
so
shaped my youth.
Good. Good.
I would
Perfect.
literally be cranking Appetite Destruction, playing Mike Tyson's Punch Out until like 3 a.m.
Yeah, we got to do a
As a
whole
kid.
video game section because that's the. I didn't realize how much you played video games. They said Joe Douglas would be in a pool of sweat, and he wouldn't stop playing. He'd be playing Mike Tyson.
Oh, that's my
Punch
dad. Yeah, that's my dad. Because I'd be like, I was the kid and that's why I can't play video games anymore, because I would get the game and my sole focus on life is to beat that game. And I am not stopping until I win.
Which
Like
game?
Metroid.
Metroid.
I put so much time into Metroid and like Mega Man.
Yeah,
Like,
Metroid.
I mean, this is like, I'm like 10, 11, 12 years old.
Like I'm
Mike
only
Tyson's Punch
36
Out,
at the time, but
yeah, so you're different decade, but like it's just me listening to Def Leppard, Hysteria, and Appetite for Destruction, just trying just booming those records, those tapes, and trying to beat those games.
is there a
Tecmo
game you
Bowl.
couldn't beat? Is there one game you couldn't beat?
Zelda, I stopped with Legend of Zelda. I was like, this is just driving me insane.
You remember you used to have to go in the little house and meet that sketchy guy in the little, and he was like, "What are you giving me, bro?"
I was just like, fuck this game.
Thank you for the time, Joe Douglas. We got a little bit of everything, and that's great.
All right.
All
All right, brother.
See ya.